Welcome to Black Barrel Tactical. Today we will be doing a breakdown of firearms. We will be talking about safety, and we'll be giving knowledge that every shooter needs to know, whether this is your first time shooting or you just started, or whether you've been throwing rounds down the range for years. Our whole point of this video is just to help you guys build the skill, the confidence, and the responsibility one round at a time. Today's video, we're going to be talking about, should you clean your firearm after every time you leave the range? Do me a favor, make sure you hit the 3 buttons. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. The first thing we're going to hop into is, why do some shooters clean after every time they fire their weapon? And first things we're going to talk about is just the fact that there are fewer chances for malfunctions. As we can see, it's clear. This is my Springfield XD Mod 3, and this is my TR1 HL light on it. But there are fewer chances of malfunctions. And so when we look at guns have an interesting part to them. So again, they have a part that slides back, they have a trigger, they have different things that move on the internals of the gun. And the more soot, the more ash, the more dirt that is in there, it changes how effectively the gun barrel, not the gun barrel, but the gun parts move. And because of this, if we don't clean it, it could one day malfunction because we're not doing what we're supposed to do to keep it in tip-top shape of peak performance, simply put. The next factor we're going to jump into is the longevity. The better you take care of a gun, the longer it will work, the more rounds you can put through it. That's just basic preventative and basic maintenance. When you clean your gun, you oil it, you keep it from being too dry, you keep the parts from getting, too heated. When they're not necessarily rapid fire, but when you're firing on the range, they can get hot. The oil helps keeps the pieces lubricated and moving smoothly without them fusing together, without them misshaping, without anything happening. So again, the longevity of the firearm can be affected if we're not cleaning it as we're supposed to be. And last but not least, let's look at it as the fact of peace of mind. You want to think about it like changing the oil in your car. Sure, your car maybe can run dirty, by going over, a couple of 1,000 miles on your oil change. But how does that affect your engine's performance? How does that affect your gas mileage? How does that affect your acceleration? How long can you do that if you do that every time that you have an oil change, you go over a couple of 1,000 miles? Like, how much is it going to affect the life of your vehicle? So therefore, the life of your gun. How far, if you neglect the maintenance, is it going to shorten the longevity of your firearm? And this is why it's important. And now we're going to jump into why some shooters feel as though they do not need to clean their guns. And the first thing we're going to talk about is just the simple fact that modern firearms are made better. You guys can pop up a plethora of YouTube videos of people burying Glocks for 100 days. They're pulling them out of the dirt, switching the clip, and shooting them. There are videos of high points being dragged down the street and tossed in a ditch and in a pond, and they pull them out, switch the clip, and still shoot them. Modern firearms are made to take a certain level of dirt and grime and still continue to perform. Some shooters I've seen talk about they don't believe in cleaning their firearm until they've hit 1K rounds. That means 1,000 rounds before they clean their weapon. And again, that just goes back to how reliable these firearms are becoming. And then the last but not least is it saves time. If you're like me, I own at least 7 handguns. So every time I go to the range, I have to clean 7 handguns. And so that would take me probably about 10 minutes per gun. So that's like 1 hour and 10 minutes, right? Or 1 hour and 20. And then you have to think about, that's 1 hour and 20. I could be doing something else. I could be practicing my grips. I could be spending time with my family. And then also supplies. You got to think of, your lube and all of that stuff, your cleaning pads, all of that stuff, just to make sure that it lasts longer. But those are the reasons why some people feel like they don't. Now, on to the important part of what do I do. As far as I'm concerned, almost every time I go to the range, I make sure I set enough time aside to clean my firearms. I feel like it just adds to the discipline of me owning a firearm. I feel like I get to spend more time with my guns. I also make videos, and even if I don't post every video, I record videos of me cleaning every gun and how long it takes. And it's just a way to keep me disciplined. And I can always use more discipline, whether it's just about guns or whether it's just about life. I also, no offense, not trying to brag or anything, but almost most of my guns I've spent at least $500 to $600 on. And when I personally make that type of investment, I try to make sure I do what's right. So I try to make sure I clean it pretty often. Now there are times, like if it's been raining or something, I'll go ahead and of course clean it. But sometimes if it's like just a lot of dry heat, I'll give it a quick wipe down or something, maybe not a full detailed cleaning. But if it's been raining or if there's any humidity, I definitely will break it down and do everything, clean every speck of it. Sometimes I do just give it a quick wipe down just to make sure everything is good and make sure everything is lubricated. But again, that's just me. I try to make sure I take care of my weapons because I spend a lot of money on them. And I want to make sure that they all work. I have a couple of friends who I go to their houses and we look at their guns and not everything works. And thank God all of mine's work. So that's my thoughts on cleaning weapons after you go to the range. If you guys have weapons, please let me know, how often do you go to the range? And if so, do you clean your weapons right after, or do you clean them the day after? Like, what is your process? Please make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow us so that anytime we create a video, you guys will be the first to know. We appreciate your support, and we're out of here.